Allen was hit hard by Jalen Ramsey, so this means Alex Smith is going to have his first snaps in a game in 693 days. His wife is here at the game as the family members are allowed to be here.
And he's got a 2-minute drill to run with 3 timeouts. And then Alex Smith's first play is a swing pass to J.D. McKissick. Slips through a tackle, crosses the 40 to the 41 and out of bounds. Gain of 6 on first down on the first throw for Alex Smith in over 2 years.
November 18, 2018. That is the last time that Alex Smith was on the field. None of us will ever forget that game and did not think certainly that we would ever be here at this point with Alex Smith taking the field again. Welcome into the game, Julie Donaldson, Santana Moss. Tana, boy, I mean, it's been a long road for Alex. I was one of the first to say I didn't think he'd ever take another snap in the NFL, and I was wrong.
You know, just to say, I always hoped that he would have this moment again. Didn't want to see him going out the way he went out. The last game he played, but just to see it's finally here, it's remarkable.
The courage that it took to be able to do this. Look, when talking with him before camp, he said no matter what, it is putting himself in good position. He has 3 young kids to be able to have a healthy life playing with them. But I asked him, I said, you know, what do you want your legacy to be? And he was quick to tell me, I'm not there yet. Yeah. He's not there to that point. He still wants to play. And look, they're going to go with Kyle Allen going forward if Allen is healthy. But Alex Smith, I'm sure, will probably see more playing time.
Yeah, you know, most players never have something to really tell you about their legacy until it's over. And he doesn't see it over yet. So it's great to know that he's still a guy out there that's trying to, you know, inspire himself to go out there and finish what he feels like he hasn't finished yet.
All right, let's go straight to the highlights to see how this one went down. I know you already lived it once. We'll make it painless for you as best we can. So Washington is already down 6-0 in the game. Kyle Allen goes to Antonio Gibson, the young rookie, trying to make something going here. 18 yards.
Let the playmakers make plays.
They use him a lot in the passing game, although he is the running back, but you see that's where most of his time comes. Allen here looking for somebody, nobody though, but himself. Why not?
Nobody's open, so his clock went off. He had to make it himself.
You know, so his foot goes in. He has the ball in his left hand, which is outside the pole, so they have to review it because originally the ref said, nope, no go.
If they would not let us get this touchdown, it would have been a problem.
And so then we get to see the return of Alex Smith, something we did not necessarily think was happening. More on him in a minute. But the guy who Smith was traded for, Kendall Fuller, helps out his quarterback, as you see Kyle Allen having to go to the locker room to get fixed and make sure that he could come back in. So Kendall Fuller with a big play.
It's great to see Kendall out there. He's one of those guys, he's instinctive. He's going to show you one thing and do another, and that's what he did to that quarterback.
And then third quarter, the Rams, they have the ball again. And Montez Sweat, boy, he started this season pretty hot. He gets the sack fumble.
I'm loving what I'm seeing from Sweat. Big Sweat!
That's his 3rd sack of the season, and it leads the team for Washington. I think we are wanting a few more, but anyone you can get from Sweat will take. They had 6 punts, 108 total yards for Washington's offense on the day. They fall in the game 32-10. Like, they decided to make this decision to go to Kyle Allen because they thought that he would be able to execute the offense better than what Dwayne Haskins did, just because he hasn't really had the experience, he hasn't had the time out there. But you knew with Kyle Allen going in, he didn't have a lot of time with the ones. What does it take for a quarterback, and what did you see from him and how he was able to run the offense before he left for injury?
You know, I was really hoping to see Kyle Allen out there a lot more. You know, unfortunately, he got injured and he couldn't go back in, even though he was cleared to go back in. But to me, he didn't do bad. He didn't do bad. What I liked the most is when things wasn't there, he didn't sit there and pat the ball and try to wait for something to happen. He made it happen himself with his legs, and that's something that he can do that I don't think that we can expect, you know, from Haskins.
Look, he made quick decisions. He knew where he was going with the ball. You saw, as you just mentioned, a couple of times where he had to use his legs. He had the athletic ability to be able to do that. But really, there wasn't any big shots that they necessarily took. Look, the offense was moving before he did get out, though. So in comes Alex Smith. And I don't know what you could have really expect from him, but they got nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. Well, look, quite frankly, I care less what Alex Smith did good in that game. To me, I think just sustaining, you know, hits and being able to make it out of that game, it's a win for me when it comes to watching this guy and his remarkable story. You know, just to have this guy back on the field, now prepare himself for his next time, that was a great effort.
That was the thing he said, like, look, nobody can hit you in practice. You have no clue what it's going to feel like. And to get that first hit, he said, okay, that was the big mental hurdle he had to get over. But he got hit time and time again. 6 sacks for him. They had 6 punts in the second half. And, they were just 3 and out, left and right. Is there something when you look back at that game that they could have drawn up differently to be able to, get it going?
I think one of the things we're going to have to find out about ourselves is just where's our running game. I think when we have a guy back there who has great ability, in AG, Antonio Gibson is an athletic football player, but he's still a little wet behind the ears when it comes to the running back position. And we're leaning on him to really be out there and make those plays that some of those other guys can make when things are not there. It's a couple of times I saw where the hole wasn't there, but the cutback was, and I think when you're young and so much going on in your head, you might not have that, down yet. So if we're going to lean on him, we have to block better up front. Those guys haven't been playing well. And I don't need to hear about Sheriff being injured or we don't have Trent Williams anymore and we have 2 new guys on the left side. Who cares? You play in the National Football League and it's your job to make sure you protect your quarterback. So these guys got to man up. And that's just being blunt. You have to man up and they can't allow the quarterback to be hit and done the way they saw those guys go down against the Rams. Because that's just not, it's just not playing football. It's not doing your job.
Well, Alex Smith got the brunt of that again, 6 sacks for him. But Kyle Allen, he started the game, and should he be healthy enough, he will start the game against the Giants. So let's break down his play, his read progression presented by FedEx Delivery Manager. Second quarter, 1st and 10, and Allen looking for the tight end, Tamarick Hemingway.
He had a nice boot right. He had plenty of options. 2 guys in his flat and 1 guy coming over the top in sprinkles, but he said, hey, let me give it to Hemingway. He's the first guy I see.
And going back into the first quarter, 2nd and 7, Allen having to use his legs.
It looked like Allen wanted to get the ball to Emmon in the back of the end zone. He didn't like what he saw from that linebacker, so when his clock went off, he did what's best. Get in that end zone one way or another. He did it with his feet.
And that was our Kyle Allen read progression presented by FedEx Delivery Manager. So Kyle, should he be healthy enough, we'll get the start against the Giants. What did you see to say that, a little more time with the offense and...
Yeah, that was his first, time out there with those guys, and I think he did pretty good. I mean, you got to think about it. The last 4 weeks, we really hadn't put up any points that early in the ball game. So to see him go out there his first time out there, you understand a little bit more what the offensive staff is looking for out of the quarterback because he did just that. He drove those guys downfield and had us actually in the lead for a chance. So I'm looking for big things from this guy to kind of, counter what he did the first outing because he didn't get a chance to finish the game.
And going up against the Giants, a winless team, will be an opportunity to take advantage of. We'll see if Kyle is up and ready and is the quarterback, in fact, for that. When we come back here, he missed the first 2 games of the year with an injury, but Kendall Fuller is making up for his missed time. But the defense as a whole has questions that need to be answered. We'll discuss after this.
COVID changed everything. More demands on students, parents, educators. But there was a $4 billion education shortfall in Maryland even before COVID. We have a lot to do for our kids. Close the digital divide, provide opportunities to pursue vocational and technical education, and hire more qualified teachers. Question 2 will put millions into Maryland schools using revenue from sports betting. I know it won't solve every problem, but a yes vote will help our Maryland schools.
It's time to go Toyota. With a great selection of rugged 4-wheel drive and year-round all-wheel drive vehicles. Starting with the adventure-ready RAV4. Or any of the 10 models to choose from at your Toyota dealer. Including for the first time ever, Camry. Now available with all-wheel drive. Learn more and shop deals on buyatoyota.com. See your Toyota dealer, your 4-wheel and all-wheel drive specialist. Toyota, let's go places.
The landscape has changed, and not for the last time. The rules of business are being reinvented with a more flexible workforce, by embracing innovation, by looking not only at current opportunities, but ahead to future ones. Resilience is the ability to pivot again and again for whatever happens next.
People who know BDO.
This fall, if you're looking for an adventure, find it in the new Honda, like the turbocharged Accord, the turbocharged all-wheel drive CR-V, and the all-wheel drive HR-V, with great features like second-row magic seats. It's time to explore and say hello to the open road. Don't miss your chance to get a great deal on your favorite Honda model. When it comes to the best value, Honda leaves the others in the dust. See your local Honda dealer and start your adventure today. Hello and welcome back into the game as we are breaking down the X's and the O's, Julie Donaldson and Santana Moss. And it is time now for our Sunday Spotlight stat of the game presented by BDO. And for that, we're going to talk about Kendall Fuller. He recorded 4 solo tackles against the Rams, brought in another interception. So that gives him the first time he's had consecutive games in his career of interceptions. He's back, he's healthy, and he's playing pretty well.
Yeah, it's great to see him out there doing big things for us. I think, when you think about it in the offseason, we brought this guy back because we told him when he was leaving that, hey, maybe one day you would be back. I'm getting tired to him. But hey, he went out there and won a Super Bowl and came back to show these guys what it takes to win. And it's great just to see him out there playing the way he's playing. He's playing at an all-time high, but he's a very instinctive cornerback that he shows the quarterbacks one thing and he's always baiting them to this, try him. And that's what happens when you have a guy like, Kendall Fuller.
You can talk about some of the bright spots, but really all in all, the defense has not played the way that they need. They can be good in certain categories in certain areas, but they're still every single game giving up over 30 points a game.
I think one of the bright spots about our defense, in the second half, they play extremely better. And that's kind of odd. But in the first half, it seemed like they're trying to find themselves and find a way to stop the leak. And they have to understand that, that's critical for us because that's where all the points is getting scored at in the first half.
And when it came to the secondary, there seemed to be a little bit, once again, confusion, or the communication wasn't quite there, the miscues. They gave up too many big passing plays as well in this game. The defensive front, I think they did decent against the run. Granted, they did give up a huge 46-yard run to Akers. And when you do that, big play after big play, it trickles down. It's just you put yourself behind, and it's too difficult to come back from that.
Yeah, you can't put yourself in that situation. And I think we have a pretty good defense when it comes to our front seven. And what you're seeing now is that when those guys are not hitting home, now you give that quarterback a little more time that he can dissect you. And so if that's our weakness, we have been exposed. We've been exposed right now that teams are going to say, if these guys doesn't get to the quarterback, we have a chance to take advantage of their secondary and those guys in the back end.
A lot of coachable moments this season as the team is relatively young. I think the average age is about 25 years old. So a lot of growth to be had as well. We'll see if that comes against the Giants. When we come back here on the game, we're going to preview what we can look forward to with Big Blue.
The landscape has changed, and not for the last time. The rules of business are being reinvented with a more flexible workforce, by embracing innovation, by looking not only at current opportunities, but ahead to future ones. Resilience is the ability to pivot again and again for whatever happens next.
People who know BDO.
COVID changed everything. More demands on students, parents, educators. But there was a $4 billion education shortfall in Maryland even before COVID. We have a lot to do for our kids. Close the digital divide, provide opportunities to pursue vocational and technical education, and hire more qualified teachers. Question 2 will put millions into Maryland schools using revenue from sports betting. I know it won't solve every problem, but a yes vote will help our Maryland schools.
If you're looking for adventure, you'll find it in a Honda SUV, like the turbocharged all-wheel drive CR-V with driver assist safety features and $2,000 less than the Toyota RAV4. Right now, drive a new CR-V for only $219 a month, or get low 0% financing on the all-wheel drive HR-V with second-row magic seats and a lower comparably equipped price than the Subaru Crosstrek. When it comes to the best value, Honda leaves the others in the dust. Start your adventure online or in-store now at your local Honda dealer.
FanDuel's new Best Ball leagues make it easy to play season-long fantasy. Draft once and FanDuel will optimize your lineup each week. But to make it even easier,
what's up, Jeff?
We hired head coach Jeff Fisher to help Tony on game days.
I've studied the matchups, I've adjusted for bye weeks and injuries, and I'm making paella.
But I'm allergic to shellfish.
You know I can't make it without shrimp.
Thank you, Jeff. You're doing a great job.
FanDuel's Best Ball. There's no easier way to play season-long fantasy. Leagues start at $1. Make your first deposit and get a bonus worth up to $500.
My all-time favorite football memory is walking off the field from training camp after my 4th year and being able to hug my family, knowing that I was going to make a team, and actually felt comfortable for the first time in a long time. So that was my all-time favorite because it allowed me to be where I'm at today.
That was Logan Thomas with the best seat in the house with his all-time football favorite memory, and it is presented by Comcast Xfinity. Lots of those to be coming, and coming up next will be the Giants.
Yeah.
So there's a couple storylines here. Daniel Jones is struggling, as young quarterbacks tend to do. You won't be seeing Haskins. They don't have Saquon Barkley. They don't have a win. They're still favored in this game.
Yeah, they still favored because they actually been playing some good football the last 2 weeks. You know, you have to look at that game that they won against who, I believe. Oh, no, they haven't won a game, but they've been playing tight. They played the Rams tight, and then last week they went out there and played the Cowboys pretty tight. So you got to think about it. Our division, we beat each other up. And so it's no given that you're going to go out there and beat a team because they don't have many wins. So we have to bring our hard hats. These guys are going to play pretty tight on the defensive side. You know, their coach, I believe, Patrick Graham, he's come from a long line of great defensive minded guys behind Belichick and some other great names out there. So he's going to bring these guys. He's going to make sure that he rattles what we're not doing well on the offensive side. And right now, quite frankly, we haven't done too much of nothing. You know what I mean? Too much of anything. So we have to be ready and prepared to go out there and be clicking on all cylinders on both sides of the ball.
And it's going to be Landon Collins returning back to the place where he started. Do players get up extra for that going up against their former teams?
It varies. You got those guys that's trying to make a statement like you shouldn't. You let me go, and so they want to go out there and sock it to their old team. Then you have guys like myself that's like, look, I'm not finna get wrapped up in the storylines. I have to go out here and be productive and play within my game. So I don't let that affect my game by trying to be overhyped about it. I just say, hey, at the end of the day, I'm playing my whole team.
It's going to be, look, the division is what it is this season, which is an absolute mess. I mean, even just looking at the Cowboys, they lose Dak Prescott. How big of a blow can that be? And I guess how grateful are you that if you were a Cowboys that they had, at least Andy Dalton?
Yeah, I was going to say, luckily them, they have a highly capable quarterback that's, that can go out there and really, win games for them. But it's just tough both for Dak. I think, one of the things I look at, being a player in this league, he didn't get the payday that he wanted. Truthfully, he did go out there and get a huge signing when it comes to just being a franchise quarterback because that check is pretty big. But I do believe he deserved more. And I think he is their franchise quarterback. I think he believed that before his injury. And now, we can talk about the money later. It's just about his health now. Can he get back to doing the things that he did once before? And I just think about it. How ironic is it that the day that we had Alex Smith return to the game to playing after the injury that goes down with something similar. And it wasn't just like Alex, but it's, just ironic as it is, All
right, well, we will see them in a few weeks, but first up will be the Giants, of course. The surgery for Dak went well. Nobody wants to see that. I don't care what team you root for. Nobody wants to see that kind of injury. Thanks for joining us here on The Game. For Santana Moss, I'm Julie Donaldson. We'll see you again next week.
Deuces.